Thompson has 2 more years of eligibility left. How big is that for the special teams room? And, I guess moving forward, what do you want to see out of Riley as he continues to develop here?
Yeah, we're extremely excited that Riley got those 2 years. He's really progressed throughout the season. So early on, it was getting into rhythm. He was finding the feel, and I thought he did an unbelievable job, the last 8 to 9 games of the season. So he needs to continue to grow and develop. I think Riley's done a great job of that. He's older, and it's exciting to have him for that time, and I think he's only going to get better and better.
Will you be coaching the linebackers during bowl prep and in the bowl game? Because we didn't get a chance to ask James that.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be working with the linebackers. We have other people working with that also. But yeah, I will be there. And I was in the room with Manny the whole time. We would split him up at times. I was in there with him, so it's a combination of both. And I'll be working with him also.
Okay. Stacy, you could end up being the longest tenured coordinator here, depending on how the defensive coordinator search goes. How do you create a relationship with new coaches quickly and try and prepare yourselves best as you can for spring ball? What's that relationship need to be like to be successful?
Yeah, I think the connection, the relationship is huge in the staff room. We spend a lot of time with each other, probably more time than we spend with our families a good chunk of the year. So, yeah, that part's extremely, extremely important. And been fortunate to do this for a long time, do it really dang near every level. And you get to know people. It's all about people, and it's no different than any other type of business. But the amount of time you spend in the football room, in that defensive staff room, you got to know people well. You got to have that connection. So we're excited to move forward and see what direction we go.
Yeah, hey, Stacy, thank you for your time. You mentioned the time you spent with Manny. We saw it on the practice field once a week. I'm just curious what kind of a mark you think Manny Diaz made on this program in his 2 years here, and specifically in the linebacker room, what's going to be kind of the toughest part to replicate, regardless of who steps up and coaches that room?
Sure. Well, Manny did an unbelievable job. Just you talk about a great elite teacher. It starts right there. Unbelievable person that could create a connection with the players. And I can't say enough great things about Manny. I can't say enough about the opportunity to work with him 2 years and for my growth and development as a football coach, but more importantly as a person and how I relate to kids. So, yeah, I mean, anytime this is college football, right? And so you're going to lose coaches. The transfer portal, you're seeing that now. You're going to lose players. So it's all about how quick can we create those relationships, create those connections that I talked about. I know I'm using that word a lot, but that's the important part as we take this next phase, and that's a part of it of the world we live in.
Sorry. Daniel asked about Riley Thompson. Obviously, I kept asking you about it, was asking him about it. What was it like for you going through that process? Because obviously Riley said he thought he was done. And at what point were you kind of like, oh, all right, we're getting him back? Yeah, it was an NCAA process, which sometimes you just never know how long that process is going to take. And so we just continue to progress. You don't know. So you have plan A, you have plan B, and you have plan C. And plan A, he was able to get the appeal. We're extremely excited about that. And once you do that, then you move on from that direction. And so we didn't know the timeline. We worked off it day to day and worked the plans that, hey, this is best case scenario. He gets it back. And if not, here's where we got to move, off after that.
Hey, Stacy, it doesn't really feel like that long ago, sorry, that you were the new guy around here as far as the coordinators go, but now there's two new guys here, or going to be two new guys here this offseason. What is your role in welcoming them into Penn State and making sure that the coaching staff operates at a high level once those two new guys are coming in as, I guess, the veteran at this point?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important that you have good conversations with these guys and understand the culture here, understand what it's like to work for Coach Franklin. Every head coach is different. Every head coach is unique, and so you try to share that, talk with them on things that we've done here in the culture, and then within that, they're going to have their own personality and their own stamp on it. So it's your job to help bridge that gap.
Coach, Manny Diaz at his news conference at Duke said that your defensive staff room had so much fun that it shouldn't have been allowed. What did that mean to have that kind of camaraderie in the room, and how did that help you guys foster an environment and culture, I guess, to lead to having the nation's top defense?
Yeah, we had, I think, the kids are going to feed off of what you're doing as a staff, and they feel that, they see that, they know that, and we coached them hard. We love them hard. We were the same way as a staff. And when players see that, and we have great players, and when great players respond, you get great results. And so it's just like everything. It's a culmination of all of it.
Any more questions? Audrey and then Bob.
James was telling us a little bit about Rob Smith, but obviously we haven't had a chance to talk to him since he's been here. What can you tell us about Rob and kind of what your relationship's been like? Because obviously he was with the offense for most of this year, but switching over now.
Yeah, Rob's been great. I had a chance to talk with Rob a lot about from special teams, just getting some feedback from him, some things he saw from a practice standpoint, whether it's fundamentals, techniques, schemes we were using. So I had a lot of conversations with Rob from that standpoint. So Rob's been great. Football guy, been around a long time, coached a lot of places, and extremely knowledgeable.
Stacy, I wanted to ask you just about Dayquan Hardy and kind of his development as a punt returner this year. I'm sure you've seen that before he actually got a chance to do it. What is it about him in the return game that makes him so special? And how much do you think that will enhance his value if he wants to play maybe at the next level, not only as a quality corner, but as a return man who can kind of change the game?
Yeah, he's got elite vision. I think, there's punt return is so much different. Kick return and punt return are two totally different skill sets, and Dayquan has that unique vision and ability to make people miss in that tight space. And why he does that, he presses vertical, so he's getting positive yardage. And there's no doubt, as you market yourself as an NFL player, to be able to play nickel the way he's played, to be able to play corner the way he's played, and now you add that value, somebody's going to get a good one when he decides to go to the league.
Coach Franklin talked a lot about having head coaching experience being important to his coordinators. It's something you have. Is there any particular instance you can think of where your head coaching experience benefited you as a special teams head coach?
Yeah, I think once you're in that head coaching chair, you see everything. And it's no different than when I was a position coach to go into a coordinator and a coordinator going to a head coach. And your position coach, man, all I was worried about was the linebackers and how that fit. And you think you understand other things until you sit in that chair, you don't. And then, walking in as a coordinator, you're worried about whatever side of the ball that is, whether that's special teams or defense. And then when you had the opportunity to be a head coach, you see everything. And so I think that vision, and I think a lot of people will tell you this, when you have the ability to go from being a head coach back to a coordinator or assistant, you're a lot more cognizant of what's going on overall and how that affects the overall football team.
Coach, what would you say the progress has been? What progress has Sanders Sahedek and Ryan Barker made this year as you look forward to 2024 with Falcons getting ready to wrap things up?
Yeah, I think both those guys have made great progress. And Sanders striking the ball extremely well. Ryan Barker's done a really good job developing, so I'm excited with where those guys are at. Yeah.
Riley and Alex both talked about the fact that they've never played in a bowl game and how special it is and why they came to Penn State for that kind of opportunity. When you think about getting kids into the program coming off of transfer years or things like that, how special do you think it is for them to play on this level and get these kinds of opportunities?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Those guys have done a great job of adjusting to Penn State, producing at an extremely high level. And to get those opportunities, you just don't get a lot of places. And that's me included. I started small college level and worked my way up. So I promise you, it's still pretty cool to walk into Beaver Stadium when it's loud. It's still pretty cool to jump on that charter and head down to a big-time bowl game.
Kavion Keys made out pretty well at the banquet. I think the developmental defensive player of the year, developmental special teams player of the year. You got to look at him at linebacker. What was kind of the body of work that he put on the field this fall to validate that kind of recognition?
Yeah, I just think he got better and better each week. He had a chance. He has the skill set. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, and he just continued to get better and better in all those phases. And so he just needs to continue to progress off that. But great kid, works his tail off, and he's got a bright future.
Stacy, on a lighter note, we've seen you in practice involved in some of those tackling drills. Who's hit you the hardest this year, and have any of them really hurt?
Well, no, they don't. We do a great job of teaching tackling, so they don't hurt. But I always start with Kobe King. So Kobe always starts with me, and then Devon Elise will always give me a little extra right there. So yeah, yeah.
Anything else for Stacy?
All right. Thanks, y'all.